And I was just going to ask to that point too, typically I've seen, like I was mentioning, like the PMI go between 200 to 250. The difference between like a 10% with a PMI buyout versus like maybe doing 20% down. I mean, I feel like the monthly isn't really that much of a difference. I mean, from
Mhm.
what I know, I feel like it's like 60, $80, maybe 100 at the most. Is that kind of accurate in that?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on the loan amount, the purchase price, but what I will tell you is when you start looking at, can I keep an extra 5% in my pocket versus putting it down on the house on a $500,000 house? If I keep an extra $25,000 in my pocket, buy out the PMI, maybe do a little rate buy down. So at the end of the day, you're keeping $20,000 to $21,000 in your pocket, and your payment goes up $100. Are you willing to spend an extra $100 per month on your monthly payment to keep $20,000 to $21,000 in the bank after
Exactly.
closing? Those are the options we're going to present you, and those are your choices you get to make.
And honestly, this is a huge reason why, one, I've been incredibly impressed with you, and then also the additional insight that you're able to provide. Because, I mean, I know I definitely harp on that message, but to have you kind of reiterate it as my loan officer and somebody that is incredibly aware of what's going on within the finance industry, it helps tremendously. So I hope that this message is going to help anyone and everybody else kind of thinking about, what the monthly budget and how important that should be versus the total overall price.
Absolutely.
Additional, really kind of knowledge to take home. I'll end you with in the call with this one question. Kind of wrapping things up is, we kind of know where things are at, and it's so hard to kind of predict where things can potentially go, especially with you have the upcoming election coming up. You're going to have what kind of resolution comes from the coronavirus. What do you kind of predict, if any sort of prediction may come up from what you see going forward, and how the market may sustain itself or kind of fluctuate even further?
hmm So, I won't make a prediction, but I'll regurgitate a lot of the other predictions I've heard. And some of the things that we're hearing is that we're going to see interest rates stay low through the summer of 2021. Some people are saying that we haven't seen the lowest of rates yet to come. We've heard people say that rates could be in the mid to high twos for a 30-year fixed, and that's just absolutely unprecedented. You think about a 2.5 to 2.8 interest rate for 30 years. I mean, talk about housing affordability go up. That's tremendous. When you think about rates staying that low, there's a lot of turmoil in the economy right now. There's a lot of people that have been laid off. There's a lot of people that have been furloughed, but there's also a lot of people still employed. And there's a lot of people that still are making money and have money in the bank. And those people are really going to be able to take advantage of what's happening right now on the sales market, new home sales market, on the interest rate market, because rates are just crazy low. As far as mortgage programs, we saw a pretty extreme pullback on qualifying for government programs. Haven't really seen that much in change for conventional loans. And since that initial pullback, March 15th, March 20th, when the fear took over, we were having liquidity issues. Everybody's saying, okay, people are getting laid off. What programs, guidelines are going to change? We've already started to see some of that loosen up. So, a lot of it has to do with, the states are now reopening. People are getting back out there. What's going to happen? Is there going to be a second wave to this virus? That could have a bigger impact on the economy. But as far as the specific mortgage industry, the bright skies ahead. I know a lot of people are going through a lot of hard times right now. Those of us who are in the mortgage industry and have been through down cycles, 2007, 8, 9, it shut a lot of people out of business. My phone's ringing just as much now as it ever has. And so, I think there's some good opportunities for people who are positioned to take advantage of these new home sales and these low interest rates.
That's awesome. Hey, Brad, I appreciate everything you've told me today.
Yeah.
Appreciate giving everybody the insight that you have. And it's been tremendous help. I hope everyone was able to take away a couple pieces of information from this. I know I even learned a couple things, and really just kind of understanding the market even further. If you want to reach Brad, Brad is with FC Lending. If you had contact info, go ahead and send it to me. I'll provide it in the link below. That way we'll hopefully get a couple of additional people that may have some questions, get those answered for y'all. But thank you so much for joining me, and we'll be in touch, Brad.
Thanks, John. Let's do it again soon.
Sounds good. Take care.